Welcome back to SOS. I'm Stats Iron Badass.
Sippy cup.
Today we are going to start work on the SHTF series. This is going to be the first one. This one will start off with lies and betrayals. Now, this isn't going to be one of those where, I show you something and I talk and I tell a story. It's not story time. There's no characters. These are strictly ideas, thoughts, and some stuff probably won't be stomached by others, okay? Because there are going to be some things that are going to happen that people won't comprehend. People mentally won't be able to understand it, what it looks like to them when they see it, how it's going to affect their brain housing group afterwards, and what kind of person are they going to turn into. Not only that, I'm getting into this because people are going to lie, they're going to cheat, they're going to steal, and there's going to be a lot of betrayal. And I get to thinking about this. What if, this kind of goes into, I think, comic books and stuff. I'm a big comic book guy. Think about the villain. What did the villain always do to the hero? The villain always screwed up the hero. Everybody thinks they're going to be a hero, but you're going to have a group of heroes. And at least one, is going to be a villain. And that villain could have been planning from the start your demise. From the very day one, you adopted him into your mag, you adopted him into your militia, whatever little group that you've started out there, there's going to be the mole. This one person that has planned to stack the deck. And if he stacks the deck, he doesn't have to card count. He doesn't have to let things unravel. If the deck's already stacked and its odds are already in his favor, he could just be quiet about it. Now, this is lies and betrayal. This goes into so many different categories for an SHTF scenario. Now, this could be anything. I'm not saying that an SHTF scenario has to be a flood, has to be this, has to be that, has to be an EMP, has to be a nuclear blast that takes out multiple cities. Doesn't have to be any of that, because I'm not going to narrow it down to that. But if it does, if any of this that I bring up could entail a type of disaster, then that's when I'll say, because of the EMP, there's this. So that's how I will play this game. And this is going to be my little scenario series that we're going to do. Now, the villain. The villain can go around and convince others to side with him and get rid of said leader. If there is a leader. There might not be a leader. There might be a mix-up. But there's going to be some things that are going to be hard to stomach. And there's going to be decisions that have to be made and have to be made swiftly. And this is, overall decision for a group of people. A group of 10 people or a group of 15. However that is. It's not going to be just about the sick, lame, and lazy. We are talking about the other people out there. The malicious, the deceitful. There's going to be all kinds of deceit. There's going to be people, cruelty and violence. How to deal with theft. Someone steals. Do you brand their neck with a tattoo that lets everybody else in the group know that that person stole from us?
Cut a finger off.
There's a good one. You could start cutting for each time they steal something. This is just ways of dealing with these sorts of things. There's so many different ways. Public shaming could be one of them. And by public shaming, you identify that person and mark that person in some way that, this sounds very barbaric. But like I said, when I make these videos, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you probably won't be able to stomach about the things that I say. And It's not going to be something that, it's not going to be sugar plums and daisies that come out of my mouth. It's just not going to be like that. I don't feel it would be that way if we were ever in a scenario. This thing that so many people out there, I feel that they actually want this. There's a lot of people out there that are nuts, that they're going to rise to the occasion and triumph. This will be my world now. I will finally rule.
Their fantasy.
Could be their sick fantasy. A world without rule of law. There's no more 911. No one's going to come help you when Billy shows up. You know what I mean? But there's going to be a lot of cruelty, lies, and betrayal. Okay. Now, with lies and betrayal, it's not just the lies. It's not just the betrayal. It's what people will do to others. That the health issues with other people. If someone's sick and another person gets upset because he's eating. And it's like, well, why is he going to eat? We can't save him. Why is he still alive? Why are we going to let this person eat our food if he's going to die anyways? Well, he's hungry. You're going to have to deal with that issue. That's another person that it could be just one person. But that one person just became your villain because he goes around your group and he toxifies your entire group. He spreads his toxicity to everyone else and convinces them that Bob needs to die. So everyone gets together and, well, BA said he wasn't going to kill him. He was going to let him live. But everyone else in the group decided, because of this one villain, in the middle of the night while BA was sleeping, to go ahead and take care of the Bob problem so he didn't eat any more food. BA wakes up in the morning and finds Bob dead. What does BA do? No one fesses up to it. You know what I mean? Bob's dead. What am I supposed to do? Gather my group and say, I'm not happy with any of you right now. How am I supposed to deal with that?
You're outnumbered.
You are. You're outnumbered. You've got your villain, but you knew the corporate. So now you're playing a game of Clue to figure out the candlestick issue and, who had the gun ordeal. So you're going to be playing CSI in the middle of... You're probably going to move on with your life. You're not going to sit and deal with those kinds of issues. Lies and betrayal. One of them you said was, how do you get out of a group?
Yep. Everybody talks about getting in your group. Well, you get in your group and you realize appearances are deceiving. I'm not so sure I want to run around with these cats, and how in the world do you get out? Because what if they take it very personally and it's like, almost like Fight Club. You come in, but you don't leave.
You don't leave.
You don't go out except for death.
Well, the issue that a lot of people talk about, this is one of the issues that a lot of people talk about, is a person leaves and finds another group and says, hey, that group over there that I just left, see where this goes, they have this, this, and this in said items. I say in the middle of the night, around this time, I know they're the most vulnerable. Let's go hit them up and get what we need. That could happen. Most people won't let the person leave. That's always been the kind of an issue. Once you're there, you don't leave. And if you do leave, well, it's kind of like doing the right thing in bad situations where you let the said bad guy live. Said bad guy comes back to haunt you days later. Because you let him live because basically the person is weak and didn't just kill him and get rid of him in the first place, and then he has to deal with this person over and over again with different acts of violence instead of just getting rid of him and being done with it. I mean, a lot of people don't like the Wild West theory. It's going to be like rootin' tootin' cowboys running around and all this type of madness. It's going to be Mad Max. No, it's not going to be Mad Max. It's just you're going to have these kinds of issues to deal with that commonly people feared the law. People had fear of law. And people had fear of being locked up. They had fear of being dealt with. But now there's no one there to deal with them. So they feel that they can get away with more. Or run, you know. Most people are just going to run. You know, in a conflict, they're just going to run from you anyway. But I have a feeling that a lot of people will deal with stuff a lot differently. That's my opinion. I think there's going to be a lot more running than a lot of shooting, because in most cases, the people that you hear bark all day long, you know, they have a loud mouth so they can be heard. They scream to be heard. They use a potty mouth constantly to be heard. Those kinds of people, quite possibly, not all of them, their bark's just louder than their bite. So a lot of those people are going to run from situations. They're going to be the first people to sell you out and sell you short. Lies and betrayal. Goes right back to it. That's just like the person we talked about in that podcast, the other scenario that I brought up, that a person, what if you find somebody and they're weak, they're tired, they're hungry? How you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it goes back to basically just trusting your instinct, and does the risk outweigh the reward too?
Yep.
What does that person also have to offer? How are your preps set up? I mean, it just depends on all sorts of things in my book.
Does the risk outweigh the rewards? That goes into theft in lies and betrayal. Does the risk outweigh the rewards?
It's a slippery slope because you want to keep your humanity and do the right thing, but then on the other hand, you don't want to take in a complete psychopath.
Like I said when we were talking in the podcast a few days ago, that said person's sick, weak, and hungry, or he or she is just weak and hungry. But this person is actually a spy. They are from another group, and they are doing reconnaissance of your group. And they come to your group, and they play along in all the little reindeer games that your little group does every day for a few weeks, and they've already infiltrated you. They know all your routines, they know your weaknesses, they have the whole thing pretty much figured out. And then in the middle of the night, they could disappear and go back to their group and fill them in on all the details and have a strategized plan to destroy you.
Or to not bother with you. If you're that strong, they might be like, well, they're not worth it, let's go find
They're
somebody
not worth
else.
it. That could be the other thing.
Then that's when hopefully you got a sketch artist, maybe you can sketch a picture of them and post them on trees or something.
I love
Be
that.
warned.
There's gonna be a food rations reward for that person.
Hey, I mean, that's when it'd be good to have communities set up, so maybe you guys can have your own bulletin board set up at different stations or something, and everybody can kind of help each other out. But then, are they going to lead you down the wrong path? Say, oh yeah, watch out for this person, or no, this person's a good person. They send them into your camp.
And you're gonna deal
Who knows?
in lies and betrayal, the other part of this, alright? You're going to deal with so many things. There's a lot of people out there, they're probably not married, and
No kids.
no kids. They could, in the apocalypse, the post-apocalyptic scenario, they could be shacking up with random people, shacking up with another person's wife, husband, whatever. And these types of things will be dealt with differently. Instead of just beating a person up, it's probably going to lead to death. It's going to be instant death. And there's not going to be anyone there to call, there's no 911. We have domestic violence over here. Billy and Bob. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. Billy and Bob. You're like, ew. But what? I can't make stuff up. Everybody else does it. All right. So say you're not going to be able to just dial 911 and have someone break this fight up, this ordeal. You know, Bob's got a gun and he's chasing Billy down the street. You know, it's this. You know, you're not going to be able to deal with it that way. It's going to be differently. You know, Bob's going to have gasoline dumped on him. He's going to be lit on fire. He's going to be a roasted chicken going down the street. You know, he's probably going to catch a couple of poodles on fire along the way. But it's not going to be dealt with the same way, you know. I mean, he could just beat him to death with a ball bat or whatever. I mean, it's going to be a different world. And I don't think people are prepared for what they're going to stomach. You know, what somebody looks like when they're dead. You know, what somebody looks like when they're dead. You know, that's the other thing that people are going to have an issue with. How they died. You know what I mean? They're in pieces and chunks. You know what I mean? That's going to be something else that you're going to have to, you know, seeing them like that, it's definitely going to affect your way of life. And your mental stability is going to be kind of screwed up. Your cheese will slide off your cracker during that time. So, people are going to be doing a lot of things, a lot of deceitful things. And, you know, they could already be in the group and they have a different plan for you. They have a different plan altogether. They could be that Malcolm Merlin of the prepper world. You know, they have a whole nother world planned for you, in store for them to better themselves before all of this even gets started. They could have already paved the way for that. And as soon as it starts, you know, as soon as bad times hit, they start to steer everything in their favor anyway. But it's something to keep in mind. Bribery with different things, you're not going to be able to pay people off. Money is useless. So the only way you can reward people is pretty much food, breaks, time off. You know, the only kind of work that's going to be going on is going to be constant back-breaking work all the time. It's not going to be humping a rifle all day long. People always get the wrong idea about that. But people are going to try and get out of it. They're going to find a way to butter up. And this goes into lies and betrayal. Favoritism. Showing favoritism to another person. You're going to have one member of the group where it's like, oh man, oh, you know, we're buddies. You just take a break. You just take a break. Billy, you got this? Get on up here with that shovel. You know, man, you just start digging. You know, go work the field for a while. You know, it's going to be one of these kind of things where there's going to be a lot of favoritism going on. You have that favorite in the group that you like. That's when you could break your group up. You could be your own villain just by being in a leadership role and showing favoritism towards another individual, and that whole group sees that every day. Did you see he gave Bob a break again? Freaking Bob. I hate Bob. You know, look at me sucking down all the water over there. And then, you know, then you speak up. You know, people will start speaking up. It's not going to be like today's times, today's society, where you can't correct anybody outside. Now someone's going to correct Bob for drinking all the water. They're going to say, Bob, you're drinking all the water, dude. You know. And if you're playing favoritism, hey, back off Bob. You know what I mean? And then the whole group can turn on you and kill you in your sleep. Mm-hmm. You just end up getting dead. They'll find a way to get rid of you. Great leader or not, they'll find a way to get rid of you if you're showing favoritism to one other person. Or they're going to get rid of Bob. Just saying. You know, Bob's going to get it. Didn't Bob die at the beginning of this? He's already died twice. Mm-hmm. Dang it. Killed Bob 2 times. But you got one you want to throw out there? I hate to be talking and then you're sitting back and you're like...
Pondering. I mean, it comes down to everybody's going to be tired and have their own stresses to deal with. And, you know, you can't please everybody. And you just... I mean, that's what takes a lot to be a leader, is you got to really get personal with every single individual. What's going to work for that person to keep them happy, because everybody's going to be different, and you got to be equal. Like you said, you can't give any favoritisms, and you can't let your people just sit around either, because with boredom comes, well, I'm bored, so what are we going to do? Let's stir the pot. Let's get things going on a whole new level.
Boredom will always juice strange activity. Idle hands do the devil's work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have this free time, and you're gonna get yourself into trouble somehow, some way. You'll find a way to get yourself in trouble. It's going to happen. But not letting the villain keep their finger on the pulse, because once the bad guy, once the guy in your group that quietly seeks to destroy you, if so, you might not have that person, but if you did, if he's getting the opportunity to keep his finger on the pulse and you're not doing it, as in a leadership role, you could end up in a lot of lies and betrayal real fast. The whole group could collapse on you and lean towards them. Then you lose your leadership role, because you're not listening to them. You're not walking around and seeing what their woes are. And, what is it today? Susie, whoever it is, you know what I mean? I'll throw another person in there. Why not? We already killed Bob twice. You walk past Susie, and her feet hurts or whatever, and, her feet are getting jacked up, and there's nothing really to do to take care of them. And she's been working day and night in the camp, whatever environment you have, and however you're doing it, right? This could be different scenarios. I'm saying camp, but different types of scenarios. Don't worry, it's not a prison camp or anything. But and you actually stopped by and listened to that person, and they didn't have to come complain to you. You came to them, and then they complained to you. That makes life way easier and more understanding, and you look like a better person versus looking like a bad person and just ignoring everybody all day long and telling everybody to get to work, And the other thing that you're going to have to practice doing, you're not going to be in a leadership role in that time, in bad times like that. You're not going to be telling people to go do stuff. You're not going to be this guy on a little soapbox yelling at people, hey, you're going to go do this and you're going to go do that, and I want you here and there. It's not going to be a bunch of that. You're going to actually have to take a break, and you're going to have to do something. It's called asking. You're going to have to ask people to do stuff for you. You're not going to be telling anyone to do anything. You're going to have to ask them, because for a while it's going to be hard for people to get adjusted to this in the beginning, because so many people are used to this style, what we have every day. You might need them. You might need them, and you have to get past that person's flaws. Because you might have that one person that's like, you don't tell me to do anything. You know what I mean? You could have that one person that's like that. The
attitude.
You just pushed it really far. The other thing, there's going to be a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities to deal with. You might not be dealing with your group. You could be dealing with other people that you found along the way, and it's just, you're going to have to work with those personalities. There's going to have to be a lot of personalities, and
you better do it fast. Being a leader, you better make your decisions fast, especially if you know somebody's starting to stir the pot. You got to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
It's like wildfire.
They spread an infection to your entire group. Next thing you know, you're done for.
Well, yep. You better put them in quarantine. Well, maybe not quarantine, but kind of like quarantine. You just kind of put them in a dungeon somewhere, and it's like timeout. Go to timeout, Freddy.
One way of dealing with people, if you got somebody you want to get rid of, this is just a thought. You could do the black bag over the head. I'm not saying suffocate them. I'm saying black bag over the head. You have a vehicle that runs, and you can drive X amount of miles in said direction, and or hike them through wherever the woods take them somewhere, and then drop them off. They have no idea where they went, and say this person doesn't know how to use a map or a compass. There you go, you're lucky. They have no idea on how to find you whatsoever. So there you go. One way of getting rid of them is just bag their head, take them away, and drop them off. And wish them the best of luck. Give them a machete and an MRE. Here you go. Have fun. By MRE, I mean cat. Don't give them actual food. All right. I think I covered lies and betrayal. I think that was all right. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go too far into this. But you got anything else?
Nope. I mean, it's just day by day.
Day by day.
You really just cannot control everything you wish, and it's just, hopefully you've got good judgment, and
yeah, there you go.
Won't go too bad.
I brought Sippy Cup along on this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. She probably won't be able to be in the next ones, but all I can do is hope for it. She's going to be a really busy person in the next few days, and I don't know how much time I can drag her away. You're going to do a quilting video or something?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? She's got stuff planned for y'all, so there you go. Well, you're watching SOS. Hey, one more thing. But this is the start of the series. I just want you guys to know, if you like it, hit the like button, share it with your buddies, let everyone know that we're here and we're alive, and stay alive, don't die. You're watching SOS. I'm Stasar and Badass. Have a beautiful, fabulous, fantastic red, white, and blue American day, and take it easy.